My cups, and then I bought two like this, but if I could, okay.
You're fine. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. I see y'all jumping on here. We are a few minutes late, but I say we're never late. We're always on time. I am here in the Zindon today, and I'm going to flip this around to say hi to our other folks who are visiting us today.
Good morning.
In-house. Good morning.
We have folks who are actually here for Sunday sermon this morning. So hello, Heather Johns. So as each of you jump on this morning, let me get this fixed back. It's kind of like got to unscrew itself from itself. So we're going to do all of that. You got it, Elizabeth? Ooh, you got that. That's what we needed to get out of the way. We got all the things. We're doing all the things. There we go. There we go. So y'all can just bear with the clusterfuck that is Tammy today, which is going to be what it is. There we go. There we are. And we are here today, sitting here in the Zindon, getting ready to start our first energy workshop this weekend with our full moon meditation directly after this. I'm super excited for that. It is Sunday sermon. We are here live in the Zindon, so we're going to do something we've not done yet. I just showed them this. So if you have not been picking up our Wednesday night dinners, you are missing out if you're local. Each week we try to theme our dessert to make it what our meal needs to kind of go with our meal. And this past week we did our chicken parm with Italian bread, which was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Garlic, the garlic butter in that. Mm-hmm. Grace made a garlic confit, which was like a very high-end olive oil butter mixture. It had chunks of roasted garlic in it. Chef's kiss. And I was like, let's do something different for the dessert tonight. This is where we get to be creative. We get to use our kitchen witchery, all of the things, right? So I said, cannolis. I have an idea. Let's take our pumpkin snickerdoodle cup cookie. We'll take the pumpkin out. That takes the fall away from it, right? And let's add in mascarpone cheese where the pumpkin was, because that's the cannoli is Italian. It's ricotta and mascarpone cheese and the little things. So we put the mascarpone cheese into the cookie, and then we made the ricotta cream as our cream. Then we put the chocolate chips on top. So I'm going to pass these around. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to pass this around. I'll take one. I'm going to give you some napkins. We're going to call this like communion. When you come in, you have to take your Sunday communion. Here's a little napkin for you. Mm-hmm. So these are about 33. You sit down anywhere you want to, baby. These are about 33 milligrams each. Mm-hmm. These are not shippable because they do have a ricotta cream. Mm. Oh, I love all the So that is the Sunday morning, our communion of Sunday sermon, which should get you perfectly in the right mind space for our full moon meditation and our energy work, right? Because the Sunday sermon, I'm so jealous. No, girl, don't be. You'll be here soon enough. But when you do come to the Zindon, these are some of the perks and the benefits is you get to have, what is that called when you take that communion wafer? What is it called? Like sacrament? You get to take sacrament when you come in. We also started off the morning with a little passing of the bong. So we are ready to go. So these were definitely delicious. They are going to be available in the Zindon or local for pickup. We have some popcorn. We have other things that are grab and goes when you come in as a member. I also have one more thing to tell you about as a membership that you're going to get. So number one, do me a favor. I'm going to give you some direction here because I forgot to do that. As you jump on here today, say hello and tell us where you're watching from. I am live in a couple of places. I am live on our business page in Facebook. I am live on our private membership for the Grateful Fed in Facebook. And I'm also live on YouTube. So if you're watching me on YouTube this morning, give us the thumbs up, the hearts, whatever you do on YouTube, and hit that subscribe button so that the bell lets you, and hit the bell so it knows that I'm live. So do those things for me this morning. Throw me some hearts up. Throw me some love up. We're going to talk about a couple of things. So number one, we have lots of stuff on tap for February. There's lots of things. It is already the 4th of the month. And we've already had two big events. We had the 5th. Oh my gosh, it's the 5th. So is it? So we have number one, we had our bingo on Wednesday night. We had a ton of fun with bingo Wednesday night. I know you missed it. I know you were. I know Sarah luckily took our
Should have
stuff
seen
over.
me at home. I was so close. I was one away at one point, and I'm sitting on the edge of my seat. And then Melanie calls out, bingo! And I'm like, ah!
So sitting in here doing bingo, it's interesting. Like I assumed there would be banter and all this. It is just like watching it. It's like dead silence, just the person putting the numbers in usually, and they're like playing bingo. And I was like, y'all are getting into this. And then when everybody got close, I could 100% feel the like tension. And that's when it
Yeah.
leads into our energy talk, right? Feeling energy. We're talking about that a little bit today too, as I eat my cookie because it's delicious. It's my breakfast. It's a great breakfast cookie too, like with
It
some
really is.
coffee. It's got
Mhm.
that cinnamon feel to it. And here's a great thing. When we look at these profiles on the cookies and things like this, the cinnamon, and I have a little thing up there. If you can, you grab it for me, Sarah? It's on the window. You see it? And I put this up there. So we've got in our window here in the shop. I'm very transparent. I want y'all to see everything, right? And there's a little board right there. It has like a little pot in the middle of it. You see it? Yep, that's it. So whenever I look at what I'm stirring in, I want to show y'all how to do it because the whole thing is, right, let me take the hard work out of homemade, but I'm here to teach because I'm going to do it for you. But if you're doing it at home, I want you doing this for your families as well. And I want to teach you these things, right? So if you walk into our Zindan and into our store, over there, you can kind of see, right, that poster you're looking at right there is a terpene poster. And below that are terpene shots. And that talks about the flavor profile of the cannabis and what it does, like what the pinene does, what the limonene does. So when I'm looking at recipes, and you can ask the girls that work here because it's a lot more it's a lot more cerebral than you might think, right? So when we're looking at like the flavor profile so that things don't taste like cannabis, I'm like, let's look here. What are the flavors that we can put with this where it tastes exactly like it's supposed to? So if we know that we have lemon pound cakes, that's why we use sativas that are high in limonene. Sativas are energizing, so are citrus fruits, right? And they mesh perfectly. That's why lemon pound cakes get you up and going. So then when you look at things like chocolate, we might use a more indica base with some pinene in it because chocolate is going to also open up the heart chakra. It's going to make you kind of feel all warm and fuzzy. It's going to make you need to like put your feet on the ground when your heart's in the air, right? You're going to have something on the ground. And then not only that, but you also have to think about what the spiritual and the meanings of those herbs and things are that we're adding into it, like cinnamon. And I use cinnamon a ton. And if you look at what cinnamon is under, so if you want to stir in love to something, add some cinnamon, right? If you want to put some protection into something, a little bit of cinnamon. I'm trying to think where else I'm going to find it over here. Money, it's always for abundance is cinnamon. You blow that into the first of the month. Happiness, cinnamon. Fertility, cinnamon. Health, cinnamon. Right?
I need more cinnamon.
So cinnamon goes in so many of our recipes.
Well, let's agree on the fertility part, please.
But the mother of ideas. And fertility, it's not so much always about like, that part. It's more about the growing of things and creation of ideas. I had a cinnamon bun with coffee. If you had awakened bacon, then you had to hold on because it's coming. But so we use things like this as well as the pinene and the terpene chart to be able to create what we create here in the kitchen. And that goes into, I guess, what we're going to talk about today. Right? Is like, how many times have we been doing something? Maybe we're going to talk about food today. I guess we are going to talk about food today. How many times have you been into a store and you're like, I'm just craving corn on the cob, or I'm just craving broccoli. Like, why do I just want it? Like, I just want broccoli today. And that is your body. And that is that's intuition. Your body knows what it needs. I will guarantee you, my mother, I'm going to tell you this story. Y'all know how much I love my mom. And whenever she got sick, she not only suffered from a physical body illness, and a lot of us can talk about this. It's probably what we're going to talk about. But she also really got into her mental body. It really affected her psyche. I think there is something about chronic illness
and chronic pain that kind of takes your feet from under you and it makes you have that victim mentality, right? When you're damned if you do, as she would say, and damned if you don't. If all I have is the joy of maybe eating this food, or maybe all I have is the joy of smoking this joint, don't take that away from me when my life is pretty much, my mom's like, my hands hurt, my joints hurt. I'm diabetic, I've got high blood pressure, I've got end stage COPD. Fuck, what else? I can't do anything. I can't smoke. I used to love smoking a cigarette. I can't do that anymore. I can't eat all these delicious foods that I want to eat because the doctor says it's diabetic and high blood pressure. And you get to this place where you just kind of give up because the joy of life is kind of taken out from under you, right? And I watched that happen to my mom. Very true, Heather Johns. Until you understand what's happening, it's hard. Sorry, I'm talking to y'all today. It's like weird because there's a stuff here. So Heather, I'm gonna go back to the comments here. So Heather says, I'm I'm beginning to understand what it is because it was painful before. I'm just trying to see what she's saying. I'm missing a conversation up here. Good morning, grateful fed. Ooh, I'm so jealous. I'm grateful to be able to feel energy. It is the positive and negatives, but it's a gift. So they're talking about feeling energy. We're going to talk about feeling energy today, right? But it's also about what we just talked about. The victim versus victimhood. Victor versus victim. Sorry, I had to eat that. Sorry. In a moment, it's spiritual. Food can be sensual. Mm-hmm. All right. Missy Shaw says, I find if I smoke before I shop, I crave everything I see. And you will. Pain takes the wind out of your sails. It does take the wind out of your sails. But here's what I'm going to tell you. This energy series that we are getting ready to start this year, I don't bring this energy series to any of you because I have mastered energy. I don't bring all of these things to the membership. Sitting here on my throne, this is what I've considered. This is my spot. Like I'm Sheldon Coopering this spot right here. You're my spot. This is my spot. But we're talking about, the reason I'm talking about it is because I also have a lot of healing to do. Right? I have a lot of healing to do. If you feel like you're watching this, can I get a hallelujah, amen? If you feel like I have done a lot of work, right? I've been doing a lot of work, but damn, I got a long way to go. It's kind of like that chronic pain. And we get in that place energetically, don't we? Mm-hmm. Where we feel like we're meditating and we're getting our feet in the dirt and we're remembering not to send hateful darts at people. And sometimes in the middle of your day when somebody just pisses you off, I come into your ear and I'm like, always do your best. Never assume, be impeccable with the 4 agreements comes playing in because I have someone who plays in my ear, right? We are all going to learn and thrive together, right? But we get to that damned if we do, damned if we don't. So why do it, right? Anybody else ever been there? My mom got there with physical body pain. But here's what I'm going to tell you. If you're suffering from that emotional pain, if you're suffering from that physical pain, if you are suffering, it is energy. Right? It is stuck energy that is stuck somewhere. And what people say is like, well, if it's source or the universe, right, giving you 2x4 therapy, that's how you broke your leg. You still broke a physical thing, right? You still broke a leg. Or, okay, you say it's my stuck energy, but I went to get an MRI done and I've got 3 compressed nerves in this spot in my back, right? So I love the fact, Tammy, that you think this is all from energy. But I've got 3 compressed nerves. I'm like, yeah, but 6 years ago, when you first started dealing with whatever issue the energy was, right? For example, I'll give y'all my example of this. Okay, we're gonna have a little story time. So, I, as many of you know, suffered some stuff in first year of college, some sexual trauma. We've talked about this and other things. It was the 90s. That's what happens to girls my age in the 90s when you went to college and drank a lot, right? I'm not going to get into the details and all the fuzziness of that. But I chose to say, I can handle this at 19 years old, and I pushed it down, right? I pushed it down. Now, I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. I'm not able to have kids. I've had a lot of issues with my that part of my body, ovaries, cervix, you name it. I've had issues with it. Now, do I believe that polycystic ovarian syndrome was something that I was born with? Yes, I do. I know it was. I know it's something I was born with. And I believe that very much is generational trauma that is passed down, and it's karmic lessons that are on my soul from other things, right? But I also know that had I probably got therapy and admitted that I was not okay with it, and that it hurt me, and that it was a big deal, and that I had some trauma from it, versus doing what I did at that time, which was acting as if I don't mind, it don't matter, and I'm not going to think about it. And when it tried to creep in, I would not medicate, I would mask it. And so I spent years using alcohol, pills, pot, sex, because I used that as also a way to make me feel better, because nobody was making me do it. I was going to be in control of that, right? And this is how energy work manifests in your body. This is how, yes, I do have physical things, because I avoided doing the emotional work behind it from Jump Street. And the longer we put off the emotional work behind the physical body, the more the physical body takes the toll for it. Does that make sense to everybody? Is that, can I get a hallelujah, amen? That makes sense. Disease is, by definition, like Heather's saying, dis-ease in your body. From Latin, it means dis-ease in your body. And so it's the energy gets in places, and each of our energy centers are connected to our organs and places in our body. So, for example, right now, let's talk about it, right? Terrible stomach pain the last couple of weeks, right? Constipation, that is gripping.
You're gripping.
I know that means I'm holding on to something, because that's why I can't let go. And so when we talk about the energy work, and we talk about utilizing plant-based medicine, we talk about more holistic approach to it. We're not trying to say, okay, Elizabeth, you've got a rash on your arm. Let me treat that rash this moment and not worry about anything else, just the topical part of the rash, right? I give her some salve. The topical part of the rash is taken away, because that's a Band-Aid to fix the result. But it keeps coming back, and it keeps coming back, and it keeps coming back, and it keeps coming back.
Treating the symptom.
You're treating the symptom, but not the cause. That's what a doctor would do, right? You go to the doctor, and they're going to start off with the steroidal cream, right? They're going to throw something at it to make it go away and make you comfortable. Then it comes back again. Well, we might want to take you to a dermatologist to get it looked at. Then we're going to do an allergy test. And then what they're still going to do is just find different ways to make money off of you, right? And treat the symptoms. What I want to say is, okay, well, what's going on? Let me figure out where this arm comes from. It's your left. Are you doing for others more than you're doing for yourself? Are you this? Are you that? Are you irritated by it? And when you start working through and figuring out the causal reason, right? And I work backwards. I'm like, what is your symptom? What body part is it attached to? And let me trace that back through. So not only do we look at the terpene profile to make our food taste good, we want to look at the flavor profile that goes along with what the medicine's going to do for us. And then I'm going to say, when I'm building an intentionality, is that, okay, what other things can we do that are going to address that energy center to where that problem could come from? And so, and here's the homeboy with this bag with a fruity pebble in it. And he can come in if he wants to. We're doing this little live Sunday sermon. Other door. Sorry, you're fine. He's just. Yes.
You're welcome.
So that's what we're talking about with this energy series, right? And I'm talking about this energy series because I feel like as we work through it together as a community, we're all going to have some things that come up, right? We're all going to be able to share. We're going to do group healing together as the plan. And the biggest part of it is, number one, is understanding it and holding it lightly, right? Mm-hmm. And understanding that there's things that maybe happened to us and it didn't have to happen to us in this lifetime. And that's the part where it gets real tricky. That's the part I don't understand a whole lot yet, is when you bring things from other lifetimes into this one that are like things you have to deal with. And when you're dealing with big things in your life, a lot of times I've done like, why is this happening? Trying to figure it out. You'll do a meditation and you'll see something from a past life that makes sense in this life. That'll tell you when you're doing a meditation and you're dealing with like a meditation for, I need to understand why this is happening kind of meditation, asking that question. and it shows you a flash. Sometimes that's the journal prompt to understand that there's something that you've brought forward with you. And we can dive into that a little bit more, right? But here's what I want to know, right? I want to know, everybody that's watching this, everybody's there. How much of this makes sense to anybody? Like at a scale of 1 to 10, where this is some mumbo fucking jumbo, Tammy. I'm going to my doctor. I'm going to get my high blood pressure medicine and I'm fine. 1 is this is some nonsense. To 10 is like, hey, I'm ready to get my shit together. I understand what you're saying, and I need to figure this out because I'm ready to ascend, and I'm ready to raise my vibration and live my best life. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where are y'all at with that? Where are you at with that?
Oh no, honestly, I gotta say about a 6 or 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You understand it,
Yeah.
but you're not sure if you're ready to like head it face on. It's
That's
a little
right.
scary.
That's right.
So it sounds like it's what it feels like. I feel like you, like when I said something about like things coming forward with you, I felt Elizabeth's energy, like she knows, like
Yes.
her soul knows, even if her brain doesn't.
Yes.
She tensed up.
I felt
Yeah.
her energy
She did,
become
you?
like,
Yes.
oh crap, I'm not ready to work through all this shit. Which I think was my reaction, like when I first started working with Carly, and to see just where I've come in the past year and how far, like, how much of a change it has made. And now my solar plexus is gripping the fact of it's time for the next step.
It's time. That's what we're
It's
gripping on,
time
right? That's
for
what a
the
lot
next
of us are
step.
gripping on, is moving into, okay, and this is where
Ascension.
you're at. I want to tell Sarah, because I can, I'm about a couple years ahead of Sarah on this stuff as far as like my process. And Sarah's where I was about a year into my journey. It's like, I know, but you really make the decision that it's time to do, right? Knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe told us that for years, right? G.I. Joe told us that knowing is half the battle. And so when you know it, right, when you know this is where it's coming from, and it takes about a year and a half, I think, to kind of really, like, the universe has shown you enough shit to where you're like, all right, I know. And so you realize, because here's what happens, right? We know it, and a lot of 10s on here. So Missy Saw says it makes, Kristen says 10, Missy Shaw says 10, Selena says all of it, all the sense. Heather says this, very important, still see your doctor, but take control for yourself. Now, I'm going to tell y'all this. I'm never going to tell you that what do I always say? I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. I did not even stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. Like, I am not a doctor. Go see your doctors. I'm not saying you shouldn't go see your doctors, because here's the thing. We've spent a lot of years not knowing, and a lot of years pushing that stuff down, right? It's like emotion codes. I love it. So we spent a lot of years doing that. So we have a lot of wear and tear on our meat suits, right? A lot of wear and tear on our meat suits. So there's things that you definitely want to make sure you're taking your medicine for. And I always say that metaphysical, right? The metaphysical is science. It's just that modern science and doctors haven't caught up to it yet. If you look at your insurance plans, like any of your insurance plans, a lot of them have Reiki as an option to get paid for by your insurance. They understand. And what Reiki tries to do, right, is take the emotional piece and mesh it in with the physical piece. And we try to make you understand, like, yes, there's some physical things you need to do, but there's an energetic way to cleanse that chakra, to help pull that energy through, to help you do it yourself. And you'll find that utilizing your Western and Eastern medicines, you can really make a huge difference in your world. I'm not sure who this is. It has given me Facebook user, and I'm not like emotional codes. Like, I really truly believe that each and every one of us has the power within to cure ourselves. And I'm going to tell you that some of the things that we have to do to cure ourselves, though, it's not just, oh, I feel better, right? It's not just sitting
The
here
shadow
and
work.
like pulling in. It is doing the work. It is when I talked about the beginning of this thing about, you ever walked in the food line and be like, I'm craving corn on the cob. I'm craving broccoli. I really, I'm like, I need a steak today. Right? You're low in iron. You need some fiber. You need the corn, whatever it is, whatever the things are, right, that you need. But have you ever gone into a store and picked up the box of Pop-Tarts and it's like, I don't need that. We put it down. You go pick it up and put it down, right? Pick it up and put it down. And there's something about it, right? You're like, I don't need this, but there's like, that's ego fighting with higher self. Higher self is like, put that back. You do not need that. That is not something that we need in our lives right now. We're living that good life. Ego's like, but that box has got sprinkles on it. And it's got glitter. And I like glitter and sprinkles when I eat delicious food. Now, all delicious food has a box called Pop-Tarts in it, right? I love Pop-Tarts. I've carried them around to the end and put them back. Like, I have done that. And that is how I'm going to teach y'all today. Like, I muscle test food. And moving into this season, when I talk about like you can cure yourself, I have autoimmune. I know for a fact when I don't eat gluten, soy, sugar, dairy, or corn, I don't have symptoms of my disease. I don't swell. I don't hurt. When I get good rest, when I do the things that I'm supposed to do for me, I drink my water, I get exercise, I do all of those things. I treat my body, I treat myself like something I love. It gives me the love back. So a lot of us get caught up in it, the victim versus victor. We said it, we talked about this. This is all coming back. We're tying the rug, the room that's tying the rug that's tying the room together, right? Think about it. Think about the times that we are self-prophesizing our own issues because we won't do the work that it takes to do it. Because we say we're damned if we do and we damned if we don't. But sometimes things start going really good with the universe, right? The universe starts saying, okay, they're doing the meditations. They're doing all of this. And when in a perfect bubble, like, right, if you put yourself in a terrarium, all the plants grow. It's a self-concealed little environment, right? When I'm sitting in the Zen den with the two of you, it is easy for us to say all the right words. We are safe. We are protected, right? We have people watching. But it's when we're alone, when we're by ourselves and there's no accountability but with ourselves. And when something goes wrong, sometimes the universe says, well, you can hold space and I'm seeing you trusting and I'm seeing you doing all these things. And I'm giving you this like little like no bumps in the road to get your feet under you. Because when a bump comes, you have to be able to hold space for yourself. And when I talk about maybe you're not ready yet because you haven't found the message in your mess, right? And I'm going to tell you this, when you can hold space for yourself, when you can say, I love myself enough that I'm not doing this in the dark, right? We say like people that go to church, right? The pastor I grew up in Pentecostal church, y'all. My pastor did not sit there. We did not pray quietly. There was a banging on the pulpit. He was jumping up and down. He was banging on the thing. He would get in your face and there'd be so much sweat and spit all over the place. You were thinking about it. But what he says is like, don't hide the bottle of whiskey from the pastor when he comes to the house. God knows where you hid it, right? Yeah. Who you hiding it from? Yeah. I'm just a man. You don't hide it from us. Because everything that you do in the dark is going to be amplified in the light. It's going to damn you in the light. You're going to see it. You're going to know it. You're going to feel it. But when you get to that place where when the universe, when something throws a bump in your path and you go, okay, shit sometimes happens. It does not mean that the stumble in the road is the end of my journey.
It's not the final spot.
It's not the final spot. We've all fallen down. It's always about the comeback.
You have to get back up and keep going on your journey and keep pushing through and figuring out the reason and the causal and the work through it. That shadow work can be some of the hardest
and sometimes when we get to that place where the universe is like, okay, it's time to put the shadow work back in their path, then let's see if they'll actually, because here's what's going to happen. Whether you choose to do the shadow work or not, whether you choose to do it or not is up to you. You are free of choice. You are every person watching this, can I get a hallelujah, amen? You are 100% free of choice. However, we are all bound by consequence. Because how many of us have like, not today, Satan, I ain't doing this shit with you today. And we don't address it. We don't deal with it. We don't work our way through it.
Comes back 10 times worse.
And I'm going to use a perfect example of it. I'm going to use me. I got them people calling me sometimes. And not about my car's extended warranty because I missed a payment or got behind on something. Or I've been in a place in my life where I'm like, if you ain't cutting the shit off, you ain't getting the money today. right? Anybody ever been with the credit card people? I'm like, y'all should have known better to give me a fucking credit card. Don't be calling me now. I was like, you saw my 500 credit rating when you gave me this Discover card. Don't act like I won't go do this. You have 33% interest on this card for a reason, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like that person. And think about it, right? All we have to do is answer the phone and say, I do not have the money to pay you right now. When can we make an arrangement? I can send you this much, but stop calling my phone. But what do? We could choose to do that, or we can choose to do what everybody else in the world does, hit that silent button on the side. Block that number till they call from another one, right? And it amplifies it. And it absorbs our entire day of trying to avoid these collector calls. And it causes stress and it causes anxiety. And we 100%, number one, have the choice to pay our fucking bills, not get mad at them for calling us because they owe us money. And when they call us, that's what we do. I've seen everybody do it. I ain't answering that shit today. We laugh about it, but we owe those people money. That's shadow work. That is shadow work. That is crazy shadow work. That was big shadow work for me, was answering that phone and saying, you're right. Yes, I am behind on my payments. Why? I don't know, because I don't have the money to pay it, and I overextended myself when I spent this credit card. I've done that, and you don't even know how they don't even know how to react to that. When you're on the phone with a bill collector and you're like, what happened? Because they ask you like, what can we? I don't know what you can expect me to pay. I don't want to lie to you anymore. It's like when I got this credit card, I lied to you. Every time I've avoided your call, I've lied to you. I was there. So now let's be honest with one another. It's like, what is the best deal you can give me to get this thing resolved? And you would be amazed at the way that they will work with somebody who just is honest with them, right? And that's a funny little example of things that we avoid, and it gets worse and worse and worse when we avoid it, right? Because they call with more veracity, and they call all like, from the time you get up to the time just to start calling you back to back. I think the more you avoid their calls, the more they put you into the queue, right? That's being impeccable with your word for agreements. Yeah, and so that is being impeccable with your word. And that's what I try to live my life by, where if I say I'm going to do something this morning, I'm going to tell you all the truth. I got up this morning at 9 something. My hair is in a bun from yesterday. I just brushed it, put it back into a bun from yesterday. I did brush my teeth. And I was like, I'm just going to make a post. I do not feel like this today. Everybody in that group loves me. And I'm like, I'll tell them that I have a bad migraine. I'm just going to sleep in today and just do that. I was like, I don't have a bad migraine. That's not even the truth. I just don't feel good today. I just want to stay in bed today. And sources like, but you said you were going to be there. And I was like, Elizabeth needs me there today. She needs that place today. And I was like, yep, you're right. And I listened and I got up and I did the work, right? But that is being impeccable with your work. That is shadow work, right? And I am free of choice. And I can at any time say, not today. I am tired today. And every single one of you, even if you're disappointed, say to me, girl, get some rest. You support me in that, right? But if I was going to do it today, I said, I'm going to be honest. If I'm going to do it today, I'm going to say, I am just fucking tired, y'all. And I was like, but I got to do this. I got to do that. I said, is it going to really kill me? I'm like, this is the universe was like, Tammy, you need this. You need this as much as they need this.
100. I went through the same thing this morning.
Yep.
That's why I was
struggle, back, forth. And I was like, it's all in divine time. We didn't get to go live until Elizabeth pulled up. I was like, that's perfect timing. People who didn't get by, I forgot some stuff this week. And I'm like, they didn't get by on Friday. I didn't get by to them on Friday. I'll be there today. Like, that works out perfect for me. But do you feel better now? I do. I didn't feel bad then.
Just felt like my energy.
I didn't feel bad then. And that's what we have to start stopping doing, right? We have to stop equating not wanting to do something with feeling bad.
Yeah.
And that is a programming thing in our society. And that's one of the first things we're talking about today with energy. Energy is never ending, just always changing. And that it's okay for an object for us to be at rest and to have confidence that we're still of value. Because energy by definition is the ability to do work, right? It's the ability to do things. Like all things that are energy can do work. You're allowed, support is here. We all need it. Yeah. But we have learned, like, if we don't want to do something, it's a coping mechanism in our society.
Yep.
It's like nobody can fuss if you don't feel good. They have
Right.
to respect the fact that you don't feel good.
Right.
So sometimes we equate a physical, and that has to be a physical thing
Mhm.
because that's how we get energy into our energy. It's stuck in places, right? Because we'll say, I don't feel good. Oh, what's wrong? My head hurts. What's wrong? Oh, my stomach's upset. Oh, I have a sore throat. Oh, I don't feel good. My back hurts. And the more we tell that story, the more that part of our body starts going, all right, bitch.
It'll manifest.
You're manifesting your own problems. And we're very, 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 all of us are very, very, very guilty of that. And that's me, because you have to have an excuse, right? Never have we been allowed to, and that I can remember in my programming. And I love the fact today that parents are saying to kids, you're allowed to take a mental health day. Just, I don't have the wherewithal today to go people. And I love the fact, but if I would have got up in the morning for school and looked at my mother and my father and said, I need a mental health day, they would have admitted me to a mental hospital. They're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You crazy? Like, they would have lost. They were like, you better get your ass to school. Are you got a temperature? Are you throwing up? Get on the bus. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Are you putting your ass out? No. Have
Yeah.
you broke a bone? No. Have you got a fever? No. Then
Yes.
you going to school.
So as soon as I got up this morning and felt the energy of my other half, picked up my stuff and came in the other room, his issues are ruining my day. The sun is shining. I'm guessing the sun is shining. The sun is shining. And I want to smile today. I love that. Does anyone know why we have free will, but then have to suffer consequences for some things negative? Heather says, just because we are love and light doesn't mean we don't have dark and ugly thoughts that we need to work through. So, Kristen, I want to pull this up. I want to talk about this. This is interesting that she said this. Does anyone know why we feel we have free will, but then have to suffer consequences for some things? You have free will.
Mm-hmm.
That those two things are mutually exclusive of one another, but very much together as well. So you have free will to choose what you want to choose. You are not free of consequence, right? So give me an example of something, Kristen, that you're talking about in this specific circumstance. So for example, for me, I have the freedom to say whatever I want to out of my mouth, freedom of speech, right? Now, if I say something that is ugly or nasty or mean, right? I shoot a poison dart. That is just a karmic response to being ugly, nasty, and mean. I have the right to say, look at that shit. It looks like shit. I don't like it at all. And I also have the right to see that come back to me on something that maybe I thought was beautiful and to somebody to shoot down and to hurt my feelings, right? Toy have free, but will. They have free will, but with every endeavor, consider the consequences. And that's just in general, right? I have free will, like for example, for me, for consequences in action. For example, Friday night. This is a true story. Why I'm hurting today. Friday night, I decided to probably eat an edibles. Yes. I may have had a few edibles. And I say that with I had a cheese star, which are phenomenal, 67 milligrams. And I also had an orange dream cookie because I needed to.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
Say if I choose to eat a certain food, I'll get a tummy ache. Yes, that's what I'm talking about, Kristen. This is the exact example. But here's the thing, right? The edibles did me good. But then I got all the journal. I got all of this, like, Orange Dreams open up. Orange Dreams 420s connect me directly. I'll probably bum rush my Kundalini and raise it too quick, and it's probably not like Source is probably pissed off about it. But man, I jump to the upper room when I get in those moods. But I've also done the work, and I feel like I'm allowed to be there. It just helps me to cut off the other side of my brain. But after I did that, what happens when you partake sometimes? You get the munchies. It turns in that insulin, all the things that it does to make you want to eat other foods. We had ordered Papa John's. My sister wanted pizza, so she got Papa John's.
Tammy.
Ooh, I went to work on some pizza. Yeah, no, I mean, we all ate it. I mean, we had dinner, but we wanted pizza for dinner, and so we didn't get Perini's because you can order Perini's pizza, by the way. You can only have to order from his house, so that's awesome. But
what? He's still cooking pizzas?
Yeah. If you're, I got the number for us. I got the pizzas. I got that pizza thing. Yeah. But I know the dairy was going to fuck me up, right?
And the gluten too. From
the gluten. Well, I mean, I do gluten a little bit. Like I just had the cookies, so the gluten was already like a thing.
Yeah.
But the cheese is worse than me. Pizza. And I did get thin and crispy on one. But I knew, and all night long, I had indigestion from the peppers and the onions and the garlic sauce that I dipped everything in. And my stomach hurt. And I'm also, because I have been gripping something, and I still am gripping it really badly. I was hoping that would ungrip things.
You're not alone.
And I'm a pizza addict, yes. And I eat sugar. But yes, so because I made that choice to act gluttonous, and I'm not saying I was gluttonous. And then there's other, like my sister also, because she was eating her feelings, which I fussed at her about. And I was like, this shit's leaving the house. Like there's all that stuff getting out of my house. Like they're getting ready to get a real rude awakening at my house. But we're all ready for it, right? We're not even talking about it. But then I ate an apple fritter on top of that. And that was the end of it. Like I knew I got a terrible headache because my blood sugar had spiked tremendously. And I had reversed all of my type 2 and my hypertension and all of these things. And this goes in to our energy work, right? And why we feel like, oh my gosh, even though I do all the work, it still kicks me in the ass, right? So here I am. I had been feeling great. My joints weren't hurting. And in the course of one night, I put myself into a full-blown flare with swelling, with all of that, just because I was not free of consequence. I had free will and free of choice. And in that moment, I made choices that went against what was some of my highest and best. And we look at these things and we think the universe is constantly like pulling the rug out from under our feet. What the universe is saying is like, you have to be able to hold your space, even when the pizza is sitting in the room, right? You have to be able to say, nope. It's easy to say no to pizza when you've got a beautiful salad and that's the only thing there's to eat, right? It's easy to say, I don't say nasty things to people because you're not around anybody that pushes your buttons, right? It's easy to say that, I am not worried about gas money when you work from home. You know what I'm saying? Like when it's easy. When all the stars align, right? But let's pull this star and let's put it over here, right? Let's make it a choice. We're out with friends and your inhibitions are a little bit down, right? You smoked, you've had a cookie and you go to McAdoo's, and do you want to get the nachos or the Cobb salad, right? We have to learn. That's what the energy series is about. Number one, it's that we don't always make the best choices. We don't always. That's part of the human experience. We made this decision to come down and be in this body and be in this incarnation. We wanted to experience all of the human stuff, which was failure and love and lack and abundance and all of the emotional places that we could go, right? We have those, we want to experience them, and we're going to experience them, and we're going to experience them in a plethora of ways with individual ways to process them. But what we have to remember is that to err is human. We make mistakes. Sometimes we muscle test in the grocery store and we grab the broccoli because it's the best thing for us, and we walk the path and we do the things. Other days, that Pop-Tart box gets put back 15 times but picked up 16. It just does. But it's the days where you take the Pop-Tart box home. It's the morning after saying, okay, I'm getting back up today. It's the continuing to give it the old college try. It's the wanting, and then, and working through the work. Because like Sarah said, right, it's going to keep coming back up. The Pop-Tarts are going to keep popping back up until I bring them home. And I'll tell you how I broke the Pop-Tart thing. I picked them up 16 times. I got them home and I was like, I'm done.
Some people are like that too.
I threw them away. Full box. And that was a lesson. Because I just spent $4 on something that I threw away. And then I started looking at the real shadow work, right? It was like, okay, I'm stressing over money. And I have $4 today to spend on some shit I don't. And that's where, that can be how deep it can go for y'all.
Mhm.
So when I talk about this, it's not just a surface about Pop-Tarts, right? It's about what am I filling that hole with? What is the when I say the causal reason of it, it was because I was stressing over money and food makes me feel better. And I bought something that I could afford in that moment to put a Band-Aid on my stress about something else. And then I looked at the real root of it, and the universe will open that eyes up for you and say, if you stop buying $4 shit that you don't need every 3 days, you'd have some fucking money to do the things you want to do. And it's a never ending cycle. And that's where the shadow work gets deep. And that's where the energy work gets hard. And that's where we have to learn to hold space for ourselves, even when it's tough. And even to be able to say, and I want to give Elizabeth huge credit for this, and Sarah as well. Because there's been times where they show up to stuff, right? They show the fuck up. And when they're a little MIA or a little quiet, we always know something's going on in their world. And Sarah will say much as like, hey, I'm like, hey, I just want to make sure you're breathing. Right. And she's like, girl, my granddaddy and my nanny, I got stuff going on in Keysville. I got to do this. Or Angie's out in the, doing line work, and I've got the kids and I'm trying to make things happen and work's going crazy. And I'm like, okay, I just want to make sure you're alive and you're above air and you don't need anything from your community. Right. Same thing with Elizabeth. Sometimes she gets on the haywire marks. And other times she just runs out to Abilene and hides in the woods and nobody knows where she's at.
Mhm.
So it just depends on what she's in the mood for. Right. So, Krista, what I'm going to say is this, right? You can see the consequence of that because you know that eating that junk food and eating that thing makes your stomach hurt, right? And then, for example, say you ate something delicious and I say I have a stomach ache. And I always do this. Like, I try to say, like, is there something going on in my environment? Now, there are just days where maybe that food had some shadow work. Maybe it was just needed, day past when that barbecue should have been eaten. That happens too, right? I'm not saying that everything that happens. But if you see something that continually shows patterns in your life, when you are finding yourself feeling more like the, woe is me, you play that victim role, like why is the world not giving me a break? And I'm going to tell you the God's to honest truth. This is why this energy series is so important. You're not giving yourself a break. We recreate our own world. Everything that's happening in your world is 100% self-created. And I know a lot of us do not like that. And I'm going to tell you why I want to say this, right? Self-created is what I'm going to say now. We sign up for this. When you decide to slide down the birth canal as a little baby soul, okay, it's time for me to go again. It's my turn. You sign and you know everything that's going to happen in this.
You hit that agree button.
You hit that agree button without even reading the words. We all do, right? I accept the terms.
I
Accept the terms and conditions, right?
There's this 100-page
Yes,
agreement.
exactly.
Let's go.
When we come down the chute, we know all the things we have to do because we remember. As soon as you come out, it's like, ooh, I don't remember any of this. I don't know how to do this, right? But I had somebody the other day, and I was like, you have to get yourself in a better place. And I'm very much got that mama preachy kind of energy, and y'all know that's who I am. No, that's gotta be do your thing. I know that's why y'all love me. I guess that's why y'all love me, right? And I was like, you've got to stand on your own 2 feet. If you don't like the way that this person says to be here, I need this exchange of energy to be in my life, to be on my property. I need X number of dollars to live on my property, right? And this other person says, well, I have nowhere to go and I have no options, so I'm stuck. And my response to that is, no, you're choosing to be stuck. Well, I can't afford to do anything different. Then make different things so that you can. You don't get to do fun stuff. You get to save money to put money away to go buy a piece of property to build your house on.
And be grateful for what you do have.
Yeah. And stop and say, okay, I call it being a Jewish grandmother. I love that. I might be a Jewish grandmother. I might be a Jewish grandmother. Aha. I have my niece and nephew are both 23% Jewish, by genetics. So I very much could be a Yiddish grandmother.
Okay.
Make you some matzo ball soup. Ooh, that's a good soup. We need to do that one. Thank you for that. I got matzo ball soup in my hand now. But we always have an option. And I'm not saying that we talk knowing is half the battle. I talked about Sarah, right? Sarah's in that place where, okay, Sarah, now the universe is going to force your hand on the doing. And it can be tough, right? You're like, well, I've done all these things. And, I'm world famous too. I do my sessions hey, have you been out of that grounded lately? Why are you feeling like this? Because I'm not doing the work. Because I am not doing the things I need to do to maintain my spiritual health and my physical health, right? And when I make the choices to do that, and so that's why I never allow those things to be an excuse when it comes to exchanging energy with other people. And so I am now at the place where the only person that battles through my shadow work is me, right? And it helps. And even my people pleasing external shadow work has been kind of worked through. We're working through it. And I'm going to encourage each of you, right? If you have things that you're fighting through, things that are reoccurring in your life, to take some time today to really write them down. Like some, if you have some things that keep reoccurring, maybe it is weight loss issues, maybe it's relationship issues, maybe it's money issues, maybe it's family issues, maybe it's self-identity, whatever it may be. If you see something that is reoccurring over and over and over and over, it's kind of on repeat, 3 months bad, all kind of this repeat thing, the universe is going to continue to put this in your path until you do it, right?
My answer is D, all of the above.
Yeah, all of the above, right? We can't walk around the tree anymore that's in the middle of the road. Sometimes you have to stay in there and you got to cut the tree up, make it kindling, stack the firewood. You have to get it out of the way. And the more we choose to okay, I'm going to go a different path. I'm going to go down this path this time. And the tree is going to fall back in your way. Because he was like, this is one of those karmic tower moments that you have to deal with. This is something big that you're going to have to do the hard work for. So as we go through this next year in this space that I've tried to create, we've all created together, I want you to know that this energy work is not about me sitting up here acting like the resident expert. I'm going to bring in resident experts, right? I'm going to bring in people to help us with stuff. We've got people communicating with this. This is a group project, okay? So this is something that I'm asking each and every one of you that it's not going to be it's going to be a workshop, which means there's going to be work, okay? So we got 8 minutes. We're going to pull our collective card for the membership, for the crystal card for the week. Get my words out. We are going to take a deep breath here, and we're going to get ready for our energy, get our Zoom set up. So if you are a virtual member, you can join us via Zoom. This will not be broadcast on internet. It is for the membership. So if you are a virtual member or an in-person member, you have access to our energy workshop that is starting today. Today, we're going to do a full moon meditation, spoken word meditation, and we're going to talk about energy, what the chakras are, why it's important to get aligned, and how to feel it and notice your energy. It's very much a 101 kind of where are we all at starting this workshop, right? How do we all feel as far as moving forward in this program of getting our energy aligned, right? We call it the chakra series. So today, we're going to do a full moon, getting rid of the things that no longer serve us meditation. We are going to talk about our energy centers, how we're going to kind of go through this process, what we're going to do. I'm going to see if people want to kind of create little individual meditation buddies or groups. A lot of us have been through our Reiki classes as well, so we have other resources we're going to pull from. But we are going to really start workshopping out our energy and start kind of helping each other, being like shadow work accountability buddies. Right. And figuring out the tools and the things that we need. Yeah. Figure out what we need to kind of help each other to be to get to the highest and best what we need out of our life. And so we're going to pull our crystal card today to see where that is. So if you are in the membership, we ask you to join us today on the Zoom. We will start that at noon, and we're going to give ourselves a few minutes to get ourselves together, get the Zoom set up. If there's anybody who is local who knows how to do Chromecasting or any of that kind of stuff, because I would like to be able to put the Zoom up on the television so we can see everybody bigger and be able to I
was going to say either that, or did you have an HDMI cable that?
I do, but I can't figure out how to get it hooked to the back because of the way that the different cord is. It's different. It's like an older TV. So I was trying to figure it out. It's not a smart TV.
I do Chromecast and smart
okay.
Smartcast.
All right, so I've got the Roku box. I don't know if I
Okay.
can do it through that or not. I'm not sure how we do it, but we're gonna, yeah. So somebody's gonna help me get that up there. Maybe not today. We got everything kind of set up today, but starting going forward, I'd like to be able to throw that on the TV. And then we have the Zoom up. We can just put the camera there, and then people can just come into the
Right on.
live stream. We're gonna start live streaming from the Zendim. We have everything so for the membership. So we're gonna go ahead and take some deep breaths in through our nose today. And out through the mouth, big and full. We say everything starts with the breath, and I think that is so very true. Anytime that you are feeling like maybe you are in there picking up the Pop-Tarts for the 57th time, maybe you are trying to figure out if it's broccoli that you really want or cauliflower, right? You're trying to figure it out. Stop and just take a breath. I say we inhale the good shit, we exhale the bullshit, right? This card is going to be to the highest and best of the people who are watching this now. It's 11:11 on the dot when I look down. And it's to the people who are watching this in the future. It's also 7/7 up on the thing. So we got angel numbers everywhere. All right, y'all. Well, that just happened. Aquamarine. Go with the flow is what popped out on us. Go with the flow, and then Golden Healer Quartz, open the door. So we got two cards that just jumped out, and y'all saw those two things jump out at us.
Okay.
So these two, and I don't ever usually pull two, but we're going to go ahead and pull two today. And that's Aquamarine, to go with the flow, right? And that's interesting, talking about with energy work, ebbing and flowing, right? Go with the flow. And that is a lot, I think. Okay, it's channeling in now. Okay, so when we get into those places in our life where things get all haywire, it's because we start trying to fight the flow of life. Things get good, and we start stressing over where the bad things coming in. We're waiting like, okay, well, shit's going good, waiting for the shoe to drop. And when you go against the flow, when you don't go with the flow, when you expect the ebb to happen, the universe is like, well, let's put a tidal wave in their way, right?
You're making it manifest.
Yeah, you're making it manifest. Worrying is thinking, is praying for things you don't want to happen. So Aquamarine says, go with the flow. Let's see what to the book. To the guidebook. Aquamarine, stay fluid. If one way of doing things isn't working, find another. Remain open to seeing things from different vantage points and perspectives. Interestingly enough, that's very much what we're talking about, right?
Mm.
Maybe the tree falls down, right? You have to figure out a way to get past that tree.
Mm-hmm.
And the universe is saying, you have to stop here and do this work.
Mm-hmm.
Different way today. You can't just sit here and hope that the tree will move. You have to be able to say, life is good, and sometimes there's hard work to have a good life, right? If plans change or obstacles arise, chart a new course to get to the other side. You are like water, unstoppable. Keep moving and you will get to where you want to go. Sometimes it just takes a bit of fluidity to get there. No matter how strong the current, remember to go with the flow and enjoy the ride. You are water. Just like the breath. Right? Think about that, right? The breath can penetrate every place in your body. Every cell in your body can be penetrated by a breath. It's like a damn mouse. It can get in anywhere, right? The breath, water's the same way. It feels in every crevice. So allow yourself to let the water flow in. Let the breath flow in. And know that sometimes you have to rearrange, right? Holding space for yourself. That's what this is about, right? Being able to hold that space to say, hey, shit's not going right today, right? I got up and Sydney is not wearing the clothes I want her to wear. She's making a scene. Her hair looks like crazy. I'm going to be late to work. But you know what? It still can be a great day. And this is the way that maybe I'm 5 minutes out of whack today because I'm behind the Final Destination truck. And if I would have been 5 minutes earlier, that tree would have come off and hit us. Or that deer would have jumped out in the road and you not got out of bed if you would have got out of bed on time this morning and you wouldn't have a car today. So when we think the universe is, let your block be your blessing.
Mm-hmm.
People who missed their plane for 9/11, people who were mad because their alarm didn't go off that morning and were in the top floor of the World Trade Centers, always know that you stay in flow. Know that everything is happening exactly as it should and as it's supposed to. And even when those obstacles arise, if we're willing to do the work and look at it for the blessing that it is, everything is always working to our highest and best. And Mel wrote that on our board. Everything always works out for us. She's like, that's our affirmation. Everything is always working out for us. In the end, it's all going to be exactly like it was. Heather's like, universe is like, hold my beer.
Sure.
So our core questions on this card this week are, what causes you to feel attached to an outcome? Detach from the outcome, commit to the process. What could result if you were flexible? How can you show up to meet unexpected changes? Those are great journal prompts. Our affirmation this week: I surrender to the ebbs and flows of life. Today, release your expectation for how a situation is supposed to go. Stay fluid and go with the flow. Interestingly enough, expectations are the current shadow work that I am dealing with. And when you get through these like first layers of like, oh, my shadow work with like sexual response, my shadow work with money because of my poverty or whatever, when those big ones are like, everybody's kind of got those big like whatever triggers, when you get into those like, I call them the sub triggers. Like right now, like I got to do a month worth of expectation training for myself. You know what I mean? So that gets where it gets real, like particular. Cause I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I don't know. And she's like, the word expectation came in. And I start crying. I'm like, I'm expecting. I was like, how did you know? I was like, I didn't even know.
Sometimes Carly's, I'm like, she's like, where are we going? And I'm like, just pull a card. And then the card, and I'm like, oh shit, that's hitting me right in the face today.
Yeah, I was like, okay, so that's what we're going to talk about
Beyond
today.
resonating, huh?
Yes. Oh, beyond.
Oh, beyond.
It's beyond.
It's, yeah.
So the second card we pulled was our Golden Healer Quartz. So let's see. I've never, ever, ever, ever pulled this card out of the deck. That has never popped out. I am very interested to see what Golden Healer Quartz says. It says open the door. And I'm not looking yet. I'm not even in the page. You can see that, right? As it sees. So when I pull these cards, like two, like it felt like it hit me in either ear, like lightning. And it was like when you give up the goat, when you just ride it, right? And this is the image that's coming, as y'all know, my movie images that come in. Anybody ever seen Finding Nemo?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? So be like the turtles. What do the turtles do? They got into that like
just keep
the Gulf Stream, and they just surfed the Gulf Stream. They just rode it. They went to where they wanted to go. Sometimes they're in Australia, sometimes they're in California, man. Right? But it's about opening the door, right? So you have to be able to go with the flow. And when you go with the flow, then you're allowed to open the door, right? Then the world kind of opens up to you. And that's kind of what came into me. So let's see what Golden Healer Quartz actually says. It's about, allowing yourself, and trusting that you have the ability to just open and go through the door and take whatever's there. Ride that Gulf Stream. If you step out, you can step back in. Yeah. Love the turtles. Yeah. Everybody loves the turtles, right? Take it easy. You are ready to begin the process towards some form of healing. Think about an aspect of your life that is calling for your attention. Unlock the door in your subconscious mind so you can remember and overcome any experience or feeling you may have kicked out. So this is about doing the shadow work. This is about opening the door before, not after, opening the door so that you can go with the flow, right? It's allowing yourself, I guess, permission to do this work.
I have to say once again, oy vey.
Oh, Elizabeth, I felt that. You bagged. She's like, woo,
Yeah.
right? It's saying, allow yourself to acknowledge his emotions and then let your healing journey begin. Remember to take it slow and easy as you uncover the parts of yourself that need healing and as you embrace a better, stronger you on the other side of the door. And I love that because all it takes is the first step.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, just walking through the door, right? It's the first step. Just walking in this door,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just walking in the door is the very first step to allow the healing to begin. And so versus it being the opposite way, right? It's about you have to take the first step to open the door to your healing, open the door to your mind to really see what it is that has to be worked, and then allow the going with the flow. Right? Going with the flow. Because here's the thing, right? Sometimes, anybody ever floated the river?
Oh, yeah.
I love
Floating
floating.
the river?
Yeah.
Sometimes you get in there and there's deep water. You can float all through. Other times you gotta like get that rocky, bumpy ass. You gotta like pick up your stuff, walk over the rocks,
Mhm.
worry about it being too low, hitting the V, slipping your boat, whatever you're in, right? So knowing that the flow does not always mean just the easy, lazy river, right? What's Water Country USA. That's not a real world. That's a lazy river,
Right.
right? Going with the flow also means just riding it out, right? Remember the movie Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown? It's like that kind of river rapids. Remember to take it slow and easy as you uncover the parts of yourself that need healing, as you embrace a better, stronger you. And that's what I love about it, right? Because here's the thing. It goes back to the D's, right? Deciding, deserving, all of that. The deciding, like Source told me a year ago. I'm like, I gotta talk about deciding. He's like, if they're listening to your voice, this is what Source said. I always say he because it's my programming, right? But Source said to me, if they walked through the door, they've already decided. They've already done it. If they're listening, if they're showing up, don't spend a lot of time talking about the deciding. Because if they're hearing this message, they've already decided. If the people that I let hear this message from you have already decided, you don't need to talk about deciding. And I gripped onto deciding. God, I'm still talking about it. Obviously, I'm still gripping on it. Sorry, Source, right? But that's exactly what it is, right? That's the first step. And when I was doing Pure Romance, when I've gotten out of it, and I kind of had a little issue with they say anybody can do it. And I have recruited hundreds of women and worked with hundreds of women, whether they stayed or not, throughout the 5 years of doing it. And I told Carly, I was like, I can't do this anymore. She's like, why not? What's going on with you? And I was like, because not everybody can do it.
Mhm.
That's what I said to her. I was like, not everybody can do it.
Right.
I was like, I cannot take someone who can't stand and can't talk to somebody and make
Right.
them me. She's like, number one, it's not about being you. I was like, well, you know what I mean. She's like, I know what you mean. It's not about doing it the way you do it. Just what did it do for you? And we talked through it. Her and I talked about this in depth. Because we know, we're not predatory people like MLMs or any of that stuff. And we saw that behavior with some of the other sponsor people. And she's like, we tell people, and what we give them is belief in themselves, that anything that they want is possible. And you believe that. I was like, I do. And she said, that's what we're offering. They're offering an opportunity. What people choose to do with that opportunity is 100% on them.
But I think it's very interesting how you and Carly have your Pure Romance, but it brought you into and brought the people that were meant to be in your
exactly
tribe
what it was supposed to do.
you. It did exactly
That was
what it
already
was
in the
supposed to
start.
do.
I have a book written. I've already started the third book that I'm putting out. The universe shows me shit, and I trust them. The third book I wrote is called From Coochie to Cannabis: How One Woman Rise from MLM to Pot Stardom. That's my vision board. And I've seen myself today. She's talking about how MLMs, I think, are the big awakening because it puts women together again. Mm-hmm. And it was the big. We're talking about that during energy, about my philosophy, and I want to make sure it is my philosophy about the separation in the dark and the light, and how these things have worked. But yes, that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. That's what we get high and just talk about stuff. But it's about the fact that you have the 100% opportunity. Open the door to your healing. Decide in this moment today. Or maybe not, because we're going with the flow, right? I'm going to encourage you that if you're here today and you're hearing this, or you watch this on a replay, so whatever the day is you watch this, right? Whatever the time, date, whatever it is. It's right now, it's 11/24 on 2/5/23. Let right now be the day that you decide that you're worth it. This is what it's about. It's deciding that you deserve it. Because a lot of times we don't walk through the door because we don't think we deserve the healing. We don't think we're worth it. I'm just going to fuck it up in a month anyhow.
Or
guess what?
especially, I think, as moms and women in general, we think we don't deserve to take time to ourselves. We've got to take care of everybody else. So we run, do for everybody else. And then when we say go off and they're like, hey, I need a minute, everybody's like, well, why do you need that minute? It's because
You just took a minute back in October.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you heard that one? Yeah, I was like, I have not had a vacation. I have not had a vacation. I said in 3 years. My husband says, you just went to the Outer Banks for a week in October.
But that was for
said,
you. That
right.
was for work. You
I was
worked
like,
that whole
dude,
time.
I was like, what world do you live in? That's a vacation.
That was not a
Even if
vacation for you
I
at
was
all.
there to do shadow work, that is still work.
That is not a vacation.
And
Vacation.
So I am working. I am worth it. I deserve it. I am claiming it. I love that. But if you are listening and you are hearing this, know that you are worth it. And for not any reason because you go out and you do everything for everybody, not because you are the best at your job, not because you are the worst at your job, but because you simply have air in your lungs, you are worth it.
Breathe.
You know, just because you have air in your lungs, you are worth it. That's all the requirements are. God, the universe, something. You are a soul on this planet. You are a part of the collective. Our goal with this community is to help raise the collective vibration. I know that sounds like a real abstract thing. Sorry, my brother. I don't have a phone. I can't talk on the phone. It just doesn't work. It'll ring, but I don't have any actual service.
Are you with Verizon?
Yeah, it's a whole mess. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was out the other day.
Yeah.
I was in Verizon the other day.
I have Straight Talk that runs off Verizon towers, and I had no service from Farmville to all the way to Appomattox.
It was all the way out all over the state, but they said it was a weird like line that got cut. I'm like, my phone has been doing this for 2 weeks. Y'all got some other nonsense happening, right?
Yep.
And that's what I'm saying. The way that the world is right now, raising the collective vibration is our number one goal. And when I say that, what does that mean? Does anybody know like what I mean when I say that? What does it mean to you when I say that? If you don't have words for it, it's okay. I'm not putting you on the spot. You don't have words for it. Anybody have words for it? Okay. So what I mean by that, right, is that everything vibrates at a specific frequency, right? That's how our energy is held together. We're going to talk about this. This is a little brief introduction we're talking about. So we are just energy and particles and atoms and molecules and just what we are. It's the vibration at which things are happening in the planet that push us together as it puts all these things that makes us what we are. It means wake folks up. That's a good analogy. But what I mean by raising the collective vibration, right, is when I say there are people who feed me and people that I reach up for and people who need me, my goal is for all of us to raise our actual frequency of vibration, for us to be able to hold our space, for us not to have to even muscle test our food because we are already just automatically, when you raise your vibration, your body physically wants things that are better. It legitimately does.
You're more in
when
tune.
you're more in tune with taking care of yourself. I went through Reiki 2 attunements. Every time I go through attunements, I go through this little binge space. That's where I'm at right now. Where number one, I cannot get full. I do not have I'm full, I'm stuffed. Every time I go through a Reiki vibration, I am definitely I can feel it all happening. It's a universal pop quiz, mind you, right? But I know that I'm coming on the other side of this with a huge cleanse. I did it for 2 days. Last time I did it for 3 weeks, right? 2 days. And I'm like, oh, it's so gross. We pull sludge out of me, right? And I'm trying to get my vibration up. And that means that I am doing the work. I am sending out love energy. I am vibrating at a level at which I am unbothered. I am easier to walk into the 4 agreements without having to think about it. It's the things that you do, and you're basically reprogramming your neural pathways. Your parasympathetic, you know this language because you work with the same person I do. It's about retraining your neural pathways, and anything that you do for 28 days becomes a habit. When you do it for 28 months, it really becomes ingrained in you, and your vibration actually tends to change. There are things right now that I probably could talk to people about and they wouldn't even know about. I'm on a different timeline, from people in my house when we've talked about it. Everybody in my house is I know the Christmas tree set over there for a year. Like everybody in my family, me and one other person. Julianne and I are like, nope. And her back, she got her vibration with mine. And she's, I've been doing my work with you for 3 years, Susie, since the pandemic hit. We've been doing this work together because I've been doing energy work with her for years. She's like, we're on the same timeline. That was over here and all these things. But they really we looked at pictures and all the pictures I have, the trees over here. I'm saying it's about raising up, right? Where things fall off. And that's where I say when you shake the sieve, how many of you right now in the last year or so have lost friends, have lost family that you talk to, have changed jobs, have moved houses, have cut toxic people
All
off?
of the above.
All of the
Yeah,
above.
all of the
That
above.
is 100% raising a vibration. And it was probably gross and ugly and made you cry, and you probably wanted to hold on to it and didn't understand what was happening. And that's because your vibration is rising. Yes, 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 yes. Unstoppable thirst since yesterday when I took Reiki class. Got up this morning with horrible mucus buildup. That's because you're not speaking your truth. You got to pull that out of your neck, right?
Is that Melanie?
Yeah.
I knew it.
Heather says, oh man, I didn't even think about that. I'm so hungry and made bad choices. Yes, me too. More changes than ever before, right? So that's what the community is about. If you build it, they will come. It wasn't about going out and finding community to go insert myself into. The universe said, Tammy, you're going to raise your vibration. You're going to attract the people. It's like a light, and like that's the image it gave me, right? You're going to be this bug zapper, right?
Shine and see who you attract.
Yes, shine, and the people that are attracted to your community or this community or our community will find their way there. And that's the exact right amount of people to be in all the places. And that's how we are raising the collective vibration, one person at a time, by bringing them in the community. What are the things that we don't tolerate? We don't tolerate poison darts. We don't tolerate backstabbing. We tolerate kindness. We take care of people. We make sure people are supported and heard. So when you come into this community, when you walk through the door, I feel like you can already change the way that you vibrate. Just getting smudged down. Just a place to get introduction into energy work. So that's what our goal is as a community. We talk about the power of one. It is about sharing that message of the 4 agreements and kindness. And here's a place where we're going to support you and not judge you and not treat you like, if you're good, you like attracts like. Birds of a feather flock together. Melanie says, hi, Elizabeth Clark and Sarah Watts.
Hey.
You push that water to me. I'm sorry. I don't want to be rude. I'm like, if I do it, my
You're
titty's
in
going to
a
be
flare
right here.
though, so hold
I know,
on,
thank
and
you.
I will.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Do you want it full?
Just, yeah, I got another gallon of energy to top it off. There we go.
Okay.
I'm dry. So that's what I talk about when I mean raising the collective vibration. It is about sharing the power of one. I got more gallons of it in there.
Okay.
About each of us going out and sharing our light, at least with one other person each day, to allow them to know there's a place here that is safe and a safe space, right? I want to be the little like tag you're at, like home base, right? That's my goal. So I want to know more about the 4 agreements. So that's a book. I suggest everybody read that if you're going to do the energy series. I am going to suggest very much that you read the 4 agreements. It's the 4 agreements are what I live my life by. That is my tenements on how I try to operate in this world. Number 1, it's be impeccable with your word. Our language can be used for good or for evil. And when we say nasty things about people, we are actually sending out poison darts into the universe. I also believe very much about, if I say that I'm going to do something, I'm going to damn well do it, right? It may not look like I imagined it when I said I was going to do it, but it's going to be done, and we're all going to get something out of it. And I have to trust in that process. Number 2, the never assume. Right. When someone does something, we tend to assume and take it very personally. And that goes in number 3 is don't take anything personally. And number 4 is always do your best. And that's the one that I love, because it's basically accepting yourself just as you are, and knowing that if you give everything you've got in a day, right? And some days I ain't got shit. Come as you are. Yes. Come as you are, as you are. Sorry. That's every time I think about that. I think about the old days. Is that, who was that? That was
Nirvana.
Nirvana. Yes. Y'all love my 90s rock singer voice. But that's what it's about. It's about always doing your best and understanding and accepting when your best ain't shit. Because there's some days I give it what I got and I did the best I could, but man, that's all I had. And it was not up to my standards, but it's what I got and being okay with that. And that's one of those things, like I always try to be within integrity where I feel that what I did was I was right. And, I was doing things that needed to be done the way that I needed to do it. And it's interesting. I'm going to say this because the don't take anything personally, one part of that, it's about the fact that if somebody walks up to you with a gun and shoots you in the head, it is not about you. Mm-hmm. Right? And that's probably the hardest one of the 4 agreements for people to really like get their arms around, because it's very hard when someone like attacks you and maybe talks about me personally. Like I had somebody on TikToks like, oh, hope that chair's got extra supports kind of thing. Just being silly. And I was like, that was very much a personal attack on me. It was. It's like, but it's not, because the tenement of take nothing personally is like, what was the point of him saying that other than the fact that he was jealous because he didn't have the courage to sit in a chair in front of a camera, but he wanted attention from the internet. So the way that he could do it was by throwing poison darts at me. So the way that we returned action on that TikTok was to send love to him. Go follow him, send him some love. If that's what he wants, let's give him what he wants, because we are all collateral damage in someone else's war against themselves. I was an asshole. And when I'm an asshole, and I do not like to be an asshole, but when I am an asshole, I am a whole asshole. Y'all don't even know. Like all this love and light, just flip it in a mirror and turn that into assholery. So everything you're like, you're such a sweet person. Like, holy shit, like give me the same accolades on the back end because I'm that much of a cunt when I need to be. And I hate to use that word, but that's exactly what I was about a month ago. And I had a day when 2 people came into this shop, 2 men, and I was nothing but a bitch. I mean, just like you would think I had never been enlightened in my life. Like use the F-bomb, get out of my store, shit out of my just ugly, just lost I'm losing my spirituality. I said, I'm a lot more fuck around and find out today than I was loving light. I was bad. Yes. And then I journaled through it. I journaled through what I was mad about, what I was stressed about, where I was out of alignment with my energy, because that had nothing to do with them. Because when you allow it to be about somebody else, you give away your power. You go into that victim. It happened to me. Mm-hmm. And that's when you step up and you raise the vibration. Mm-hmm. I realized that they didn't do anything to me. No one in this planet has the ability to take me outside of my character but me. So when I did that, and when I learned that lesson, I learned about don't take anything personally. Yeah. So go out this week. Don't take anything personally. I want you to know that you are here listening, so you deserve it. You've already decided that you deserve it. Walk through the open door. Walk through the open door, and just say, "I'm ready to heal." Just that's what I want you to do. Walk through and say, I'm giving up. Today's a new moon, right? So I want you all to think about this. I hope you'll join us on the Zoom here in a minute. What are you giving up for this full moon to make room for what's best for you in this coming up new moon? On this full moon, I am giving up victim. I'm giving up the fact that I'm not going to take care of myself. I'm getting rid of all the things that no longer serve my highest and best. And moving into this new season of life, we're going to make good food choices. We're going to make good spending choices. We are going to make good relationship choices. We're going to do that as a collective together. How can everybody say and the congregation said amen? Amen. Okay. Can the congregation say amen on there? If we are giving up those things that no longer serve our highest and best as a grateful fed community, we are making room for those things to fill up and to help raise the collective vibration, to help bring all the things that we want as an individual and as a community to fruition. I had a little, like I said, took those cookies for a reason. I'll talk about this on the Zoom for the membership, but I have a phenomenal way for everyone. Number one, we're gonna have our first paint party this month.
Woohoo! What is that?
We're gonna do. Everybody's gonna go buy their own individual TV stand, the wooden TV stands, and we're gonna bring in any kind of craft supplies. I want you to vision board it. I want you to Mod Podge it, so it's like your little visual representation of your world and your personality on your board. And we're going to hang them all over this wall, so it's everybody's like little artwork, like shaker style, all over the Zendan. You can come in, you can pop a squat wherever. It's a perfect little rolling tray. You always have somewhere to eat on. It's your little personal table. So when you're a member and you're here, you always know that you can grab a chair. Bring your chair in if you want to bring your folding chair. We're going to have a spot out back for all those. And you always have somewhere to sit with your thing, listen to music, all the things. And that way we're doing it. It's something fun, right? And so we're going to do that one first. And then during hippie holidays, we're going to do a create your own glass smoking. We're going to have bongs, and you're going to be able to paint your own bong.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but there's a way for members and other community people to sponsor raised beds in the garden, and you can like donate them. Like you can like do like your nanny's favorite flowers in it, or you can do their favorite vegetables. Like I'm going to a cucumber patch for my granddaddy because he loved cucumbers, and it'll be dedicated. You can like decorate the whole thing up around for your person.
I do. I have a pink rose bush that was given to me when my mother passed away, and it's been told to me several times that I need to cut it back and try to get new plant life off of a piece of it.
Okay.
To carry it on. I'm going to bring some here.
Yay. Yay. So we have lots and lots and lots of fun things up our sleeves coming up. But on that note, we're going to end this. We're going to take a little break before we get to this noon. I was an hour and 30-minute live today. Did not know that was going to happen, but hey, we haven't done it in a minute. So it's what happens. Hope y'all enjoyed today. I enjoyed spending time with each and every one of you. As we always end these lives, peace, love, and feast. Stay elevated, y'all. See you at noon on the Zoom. Bye. Melanie.